My name is Rebecca Musey. In my last video, I showed how I created a banner with 4 different statuses for a member record. This is what the banner looks like on the member record now. However, I realized that I wanted to add one more status, and with the standard components available in Flow for Salesforce, there's not a way to add 5 columns. I was determined to make a 5-column component, so I looked first at ChatGPT to see if it was possible. And what I found out is that I could create a Lightning component that would be a custom component for a ScreenFlow. I'm going to show you first how the ScreenFlow component that is existing in Salesforce looks in the ScreenFlow page. The section component has 4 columns with the ability to drag and drop other components inside of it. In this case, I dragged display image components and display text components into each column. However, I really wanted 5 columns. In my last video, I showed how I created formulas for each of the images and for the text in each column based on pick list values from the member page. If you want to see how I did that, please watch my last video. Now I'm going to show you how I created the Lightning component to create 5 columns on my ScreenFlow. To get started, go to the cog for Setup and go to Developer Console. I'm going to show you the code that I already created. However, if you wanted to create something similar, you would go to File, New, Lightning Component. Name your component, and it creates a bundle of files that are blank for you to add code to. In the Aura component, which is the first file in the Lightning bundle, there are attributes that are strings which hold the text for my columns. There are also a set of attributes that are images that are also strings, but they are the name of the image files. All the images are stored as static resources through the Home Setup page. After the attributes, there are dividers, and it's sectioned out into 5 columns. Each column contains the image and the text. All of this content came from ChatGPT, and I only modified it slightly. Originally, ChatGPT gave me a separate component to create each of the images. I decided to just copy the code from that image component into this component. So this is how each of the columns is set up. It's pretty straightforward. The design section of the component simply has another set of attributes for the text and for the images. These labels are what you see when you go into the actual ScreenFlow, and I'll show you that in a minute. There's a style component that just sets some of the parameters for the text and for the images. These tags, like responsive image, can be seen here as classes. The last piece is the JavaScript controller. All of this functionality came from ChatGPT. This piece I could probably delete because I did take the code from this image component and put it into my component, my Aura component, but I just left everything as it was because it works and I didn't have a lot of time to edit things. These functions are all set up in the Aura component for different events that happen with the columns. Once I saved these pieces, I was able to see the component in the flow. I'm going to show you that now. As you can see, my component shows up under custom components in the ScreenFlow. It doesn't look as fancy as the 4-column component. I would like it if it allowed me to drag and drop other components within it. However, it works. And what you can see here, the labels that I mentioned in the design code show up here, and each of these images and text components have a formula for them as they did in my other flow. Now I'm going to show you how I add it to the Lightning page. After I save the flow, I can go in here and choose the newly created flow with 5 components. I have to make sure to pass the record ID into the variable and save it. After refreshing the record page, you can see now that there are 5 columns, each one having images. Because I didn't do it in the last video, I just wanted to show you how these images and text are updated based on data inside the page. If I change the experience project status from ineligible to eligible, and I click Save, the image and text don't immediately change. I have to click Update or refresh the page in order for the image and the text to change. I really wanted to figure out a way to fix that. In my next video, I'll show you how I figured out how to solve the update problem. I also managed at the same time to solve the width of the banner problem. I really didn't want it to be this wide or have the update button showing. I hope you enjoyed this video.